Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to our video. Today I'll be talking about Aliens Romulus. But I'm going to try to split this up. My entire first part will be all non-spoilers, and my last part will be spoiler territory. So I'll do a warning though. I'll do a warning. But yeah, anyway, remember like, subscribe, notification bell, and let's talk about this movie. Okay. So I think my biggest complaint about the movie. I'm gonna get negatives out of the way first, by the way. My biggest complaint about this movie is the characters are super dumb. Like some of them, not all of them. Like the two main characters are actually pretty they're actually pretty comparable and smart, but the side characters are really stupid, like really dumb, and it's just like infuriating sometimes because the whole movie could have not happened so much faster if they didn't just use like their horror movie logic brain. Okay, but that's kind of what I got for that. The next big complaint I have is the first part of this movie. It's not until it's like a slight spoiler warning, but I saw it in the trailer. It's like in the first trailer, like immediately when they get to the coolant, that's when the movie starts picking up. Like when they're going to grab the coolant, that's when the movie starts getting good. Because the first Primal Guy was super boring. I didn't care about most of the characters that much. You knew most of them were gonna die, and it was just like very. But yeah, that's beside the point. So the next, hold on, let me take a sip of my my water, agua. I have two things here. I have this Coke Zero that I was drinking, but no, I want some water. But yeah, that whole first section was a bit slow and boring. And the other complaint is that wasn't the scariest movie of all time. I would say there were scary parts, but overall, it didn't feel like very horror-esque. But that's also, I feel like, just kind of, it's, we're getting to a point where horror movies have to get really creative to scare people. Now we're on positives, and there's all positive for this movie. First of all, I have to say the designs of like the xenomorphs, all the practical effects, everything were so good. If you don't know, this movie is practical effects, like all the xenomorphs, everything. They got a basketball player to play like the aliens, so that's why they're like able to move around so like good because it's in a suit. But the ones that aren't suits are like animatronics, and it's just really cool. And then like the face huggers are all crawling around. Those are animatronics. They look really cool. I just think the movie itself is really good with all the animatronics and stuff, and I just really appreciate that. It's just practical can be the way to go for most movies, and I think this was definitely not most movies, because I'd say some movies, because trying to do like Avengers Endgame with practical effects would be pretty hard, pretty difficult. But anyway, you know what I mean. The practical effects in like horror movies like this work so well. And another positive I have, I think the actors that portray the characters, or at least most of them, were really good. There were like two characters that didn't really get to do much. Plus, I mean, they weren't terrible actors, it just didn't get too much, so you couldn't feel the full range of their acting. But some of the actors later were amazing, impeccable at the roles. And especially, actually, I'll get that when I get spoiler territory. I'm gonna get the spoiler territory when I do that. But anyway, yeah. So if we're moving on, another positive I have is the last. No, I'll get to that spoiler section too. Actually, I'll say this: last 15 minutes, generally a 10 out of 10 part, because it was so like action-packed, so paced, and everything. It just catches you by surprise if you don't know what's gonna happen. If you got spoiled by Twitter, sorry for you. Sorry for you. Just delete that app. It's useless anyway. And all it is, I don't know, YouTube doesn't like the word, so the naughty content and bots with ads. So yeah, that entire last part was amazing. And one big thing, the set design kind of, because the ship, they did a good good job at making the ship look in the future, but also like broken down and old at the same time. I think that just is super cool how they're able to do that really well. It's like, wow, amazing. Also, the xenomorph skeleton at the very beginning of the movie was a really good like set design or design thing too. I just love that. I wouldn't say the soundtrack, there wasn't actually too much soundtrack, but where it was good. I did like a lot of sounds in the movie. Like there were scenes where it's common in horror movies, but I would say it's getting less common late to just have complete silence there. Like usually there's like music or something in the background talking, but no. This movie is complete silence, except for like very few ambient noises. But it works so well. So now I'm gonna get into spoiler territory. So you have like 10 seconds to go off this video before we get into this. So I'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, done. So first thing I'll talk about is the 15 minutes ending. Generally, the human xenomorph hybrid looks incredible. If I saw that walking out of the streets, my pants would be soiled. I'd piss my pants. Like that. I don't know if it was makeup or what. I'm pretty sure it was just makeup and part suit, but it was great. Like genuinely amazing. Like the design was like horrifying, and it looked like a proper xenomorph human hybrid. And the way it moved everything was so crazy. And also the whole last section where it's like on the small ship, that took me completely by surprise. So we'll say I did have a minor spoiler and didn't know there's a human xenomorph hybrid, but I didn't know that, or no, I saw a picture of the human xenomorph hybrid. I didn't know what it was. So I'm like, oh, that's probably a movie people are saying that makes a lot of people insane. We get to the part where they're getting off the ship, like the big space station, and then they're getting on the ship. I'm like, oh, it didn't happen. I guess it might be like photoshopped, or what? And no, it wasn't. It came in right on the small ship. I will say, they surprised me too, because when they pan up to the door to the ship, I thought that's when it would come out, but no, it comes out in the smaller ship. And that whole like last scene was just so like had your heart pumping, because you're watching her frantically going around the ship while the thing's stalking her. And also, I really like how it's kind of like curious too, since it's still like a human baby xenomorph. It's still like really young. So it's really curious because it also has the human intelligence and not just the xenomorph instinct. So I really liked how it was kind of like, what should I, it was really well. Yeah, no, xenomorph was really good. That whole 50 minutes. The first part was so boring. The minor part was like, I don't care. Like, I feel bad for them. Yeah, their parents died, whatever. But we're here to see aliens and the stress, not like you wanting to leave the planet and go. That's another thing. The actor, Andy, he played Andy. He did an incredible job at portraying like the robot, synthetic, because he just switched up like that, and it was very convincing. Like, I didn't think, oh, he's trying to do his best and it's kind of working. No, I thought, generally, you convinced me there was those were people who looked exactly the same but acted completely different. I would have believed you, because he did so well at that role. And the main character, I literally don't remember her name. I remember Andy and Tyler. That's all I remember for the names. I remember her main character names, but she was also really good. She was smart, first of all, like the only competent one. And she did get emotional at times, but like she still worked very well. Like, she was the one at the very end that came up with the idea for the gravity and stuff like that. She was smart. She wasn't overly smart like a genius, but it's very clear she had some survival instincts. And it was very apparent with like taking the monster out at the very end. It was just, oh, that movie's just incredible. And for the middle parts, I guess the part where they're crashing the ship, I kind of I thought what was going to happen was the ship was at first just like locked up, or they couldn't get to it because like the xenomorph was guarding it or something. But no, it's just that the ship just crashed in that other bay, which makes them have to traverse across station, which is kind of nice, because it lets you like see more of the environment, more of like how broken it is and stuff. And also another big thing, this was kind of part of the negatives that I mentioned. I agree with Andy when he's in like the smart mode and stuff so much, because if he opened that door, they would have been cooked. If he didn't try to do what he was doing, they all would have been dead, or they all did die. But they all either they did die or they were gonna die if he didn't do what he did, or if he didn't try to do what he did. Like, he was just correct. He was just right. But and also the scene where I know it's a reference like the original aliens, but the xenomorph stabs the dude and like brings him up to face was so cool, because it's got the modern look to it. First of all, that's so great. Another thing, the modern look works so well with the xenomorphs, because I think the one thing I always thought with Covenant despite not being a good movie, like not being a good movie at all, it did a really good job at making the aliens look good. Like that's how you would think they would look in real life. But because these were practical and they actually were real, it just worked. Anyway, that's what I got for this video. Remember to like, subscribe, notification bell, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye bye.